All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to the math meeting. I'll call this meeting to order at 7:01, and if we could all stand for the flag salute. Charlie, will you please lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our secretary is not with us this evening, and she usually reads the mission statement. So if you don't mind, we'll bypass that this evening. And I would ask if anybody has a comment or a remembrance for us to take a moment of silence. Okay, Mr. Thornton?
I don't usually do this, but... Testing. Is it on? Okay. I'd ask all of us to take time and remember all our friends that have passed. Some of them have been in Middletown for so many years, no one can remember when they weren't here. Gail Ride and many, many others. And if we could just take time to look at our hearts and think about them and what they brought to the community. We're a small community, and when we lose someone like the Wrights, it makes a big difference. The guy that founded Jericho Doors, a wonderful guy, Jack Lair. There's been a lot that we should remember.
And who started math? Who helped start math? Martha?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Martha, Sharon Dawson.
Oh, there's so many that gave so much, and sometimes we just don't take time to sit and think about them and how much we miss them, because we do miss them. There's always a hole in our hearts when people pass, and they've been good friends. I knew Jack Lair 54 years, and boom, I had coffee with him at 9 o'clock, and at 12 he was gone. So that's how fast things happen. So if we just take a minute with the chairperson's permission and think about all those folks that have gone, and hopefully no more this year. So please, just a moment of silence.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I will entertain a approval of the agenda.
Second.
Thank you. It's first and second. Anyone have a comment, or can we vote? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Seeing none, we'll move on to public input. Public input is, this is the time for anyone to come up and speak for 3 minutes on a topic that is not on the agenda. So, like, if Tanya has a comment about Christmas trees and Christmas in Middletown.
How much is it this year, Tanya?
Hi, my time, I already have all my Christmas trees sold. So that's no problem because we're only 2 days from Christmas in Middletown, Saturday, big event. Come on down, lots of vendors. I think 39 signed up with Mama, and that doesn't include the Middletown Park. They're going to have even more vendors. Shops are going to be open. We're going to have stations with Grinch and Santa, and I can't remember, I think the Frozen girl. And anyway, it's a good time to come out, see all your friends, and support Middletown businesses. Yes, and Santa. No, not at the park. I believe Santa is going to be at Middletown Mail and More, is it? No.
It's going to be on the back end of Harvester.
Okay, so they're closing off, this year they're closing off, someone beat us to the park permit, and it was the Middletown Farmers Market people actually beat us to the park, so they're doing their own thing in the park. And then, the Merchants Association, so there's gonna be a lot of vendors on, darn it, Young, between 29 and Washington. That street's gonna be closed off, and that's where Santa's gonna be. Thank you.
But wait, there's more. There's going to be caroling and a little concert and singing, primarily in Spanish, but also in English at the M.A.T.H, and piñata breaking at 4 for little ones, at 7 for bigger ones, and then at 7:30 from here up. And send the kids. It's going to be a lot of fun, traditional sharing of Latino culture. Very, very nice. And also vendors at the M.A.C outside and inside. So it'll be a lot of fun. Come on out and play with us.
Great. And I'm sorry, Margot, I know you came up to the mic first, so,
Wait,
but,
I didn't say my name, Lisa Kaplan from Middletown Arts Center, and the singing is from 5 to 7. I'm supposed to do it for him.
Good evening, Math. Margot Kambara, General Plan Advisory Committee Representative. Today, the Planning Commission heard a very difficult permit application from the Middletown area, and that is, gosh, I'm drawing blank. Rancho Lake project. Now, it has been continued to January 8th at 9:20, and it features the greatest hits of land use issues: water availability, wildfire road safety, farmland protection zone. District 1 is not afforded any of those protections for its farmland protection zones. Other parts of the county do. And then there are other issues too. Biggest one is water. So anyway, stay tuned. Please attend either in person or remotely. You can find information on this on the county website. Look under the agenda for under Planning Commission. Can you tell us a little more about where it is? Oh, sorry. It's in Coyote Valley, off of Grange Road, the project. Rancho Lake.
this is, sorry, for those of you who have been to a meeting here in the past, where we were talking about different projects, and this one happens to be Rancho Lake, which is, the Comstock family is involved with this project. So out on Grange Road. So we heard a little bit about it, then we discussed it briefly, and it just came before the Planning Commission this morning.
Oh, okay. Okay, now switching gears. 'Tis the season to look after our neighbors who are less fortunate. There is a benefit concert this Sunday at the Soper Reese in Lakeport. Starts at 2 o'clock. The group is a trio Americana featuring Matt Rothstein, who is a Lake County administrator, Lincoln Andrews, Gabriel Yanez, and special guest. The theme of the night is Coltrane's A Love Supreme. This benefits the Gleaners, who are the official food bank for Lake County. And as we know, the need for food is even greater since we had that federal shutdown and SNAP benefits were delayed. So thank you, and happy holidays.
Thanks.
Okay. Last month, I gave a little speech about how we can do better in math. I'm going to give you a little alibi. Earth, Eastern Area Town Hall. They had a wonderful presentation that was put on by, I think his name is Matthew, I'm not sure, by their person on code enforcement. And he, Marcus, he did an excellent job, okay? Usually, you know, code enforcement is one of those things that you see it as the boogeyman coming for you. And I've had that happen. I was a soldier and I had people try to take my property away from me. It was not legal to do that, but they tried anyway. The government protected me as a soldier, but as a resident, you need to be able to protect yourself. There's a real movement towards, and there always has been a good old boy system where developers want to come in, take your property and resell it. Okay, it's just it's a dirty little game that gets played everywhere. It's not something unique to Lake County. But this tells you how to protect yourself. It tells you how to get the help that you need, how to answer each and every single question. It's one of the best presentations you can get. And I think everybody as a homeowner, especially if you have a mobile home, because there's a real anti-mobile home thing going on right now, that you need to be able to protect yourself and protect that mobile home if you care about it. Okay, there are incentives to get rid of it. Personally, I love mine. It was made in Woodland, California. I'm a full-blooded Californian. I want to see that thing stay, and I'm going to take good care of it. There is so much in that presentation. Hopefully next month we can have it have a link to it here. But it's Earth in the eastern area, and it's excellent. Protect yourself because there's people out there. And it talks a lot about Middletown, what's going on Dry Creek, somewhere near where you live, and also what's going on in other places in Middletown too. It doesn't just cover their area, it covers the whole county. 100% the best presentation I've ever seen.
So what is the topic exactly?
It's code enforcement. Code enforcement. It's about
Yeah.
it's about code enforcement and what you can do as a regular person and how to defend yourself. And they do a good job of giving to it. The other side too is code enforcement. They are about $500,000 in debt. They're going to be looking for money. The county supervisors, none of them has said, yes, go out and find somebody and screw them over and take their money, but they're going to look for money. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but at the same time, know how to protect yourself. It's really it's a whole video. It's like 45 minutes to an hour, maybe more, of just how to protect yourself. Listen to the entire thing. It's the best presentation I've ever seen in any of the mass.
May I ask him a question?
Sure.
Well, we're not supposed to during 3 minute, but since it's you,
You can text me. I'll be right over there.
and I'm feeling.
Comment.
Yeah.
What we have in this county is selective code enforcement.
Exactly.
If they don't get a complaint, they don't care what you do. They get a complaint and they're in your butt forever.
They are, CDD does say that they are complaint driven. So,
That's the way it should be, Monica.
We'll just wait a second. I think I might answer a question for you. So, somewhat related to what Charlie said, but I think this is going to be a little bit different tone. And just to give you a backstory, I used to live in Texas. Texas has a boatload of counties. And the way Texas revenue is set up, a lot of them are poor, rural counties. They don't have a lot of ways to generate revenue. And when I was living there in the 90s, the speed trap was the thing and how they generated revenue. They would just wait until you crossed that line and there'd be a speed limit change and there's a cop or a sheriff waiting right there to write you up a several $100 ticket. And they would say it would be for traffic safety, but everyone knew it's how that town or that county made its money because it had no other way. Charlie touched on it a little bit. The last meeting of the Board of Supervisors in November, CDD came to the Board of Supervisors asking for a $500,000 loan because 6 months into the 12-month budget, they didn't have enough money to make payroll. Because I'm not going to talk too much about that. That's a whole other topic that I think the board is working on. But out of that came the conversation of how to generate revenue. And what they said is they're going to send a couple people out there to try to write violations. I don't want to misparaphrase, but the thing was to generate revenue by getting more, having code enforcement go out to generate more revenue so they get more permits. I see that as a real concern, that you do have to be careful. Fast forward to the actual Earth meeting. Marcus Beltrano was there. He did a really great presentation, but he also mentioned, we're going to have 2 people go out there and look for substandard housing and start writing up violations because they want to get grant money. And then earlier this week, an analysis of how the building department got into the mess it did, came up, and again, they mentioned how they're going to generate more revenue. And again, the idea of having more tickets or more violations, whatever they're called, came up again. It didn't come up in the idea of let's beautify our county. It came up of how do we generate more cash. And I ask that we don't have a lot of detail yet because the actual detail on that I believe was continued. But I ask that you be cautious because this could go sideways. We have a really good code enforcement department today. We have a very professional code enforcement department. We have a very professional building inspection department. I hold them in quite high regard. But to say, okay, we're out of cash, go out and find ways we can make money, is not necessarily what we would want, in my view, our code enforcement to be doing. So I'm all for abatement. I'm all for getting rid of blight. I'm all for those types of things. I had asked Mr. Beltrano how many tickets they have, and he said they processed 800 code violations, but they still had a 1,900 come in. Those are actual legitimate complaints that came in from the community. Not all of them generate revenue. It's like pick up your trash, those types of things. Mow your lawn, be fire defensive. They don't necessarily generate permits. So ask questions. Stay on top of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Oh, wait.
I forgot your name. You brought up a very good point. I used to be the fire marshal for Sonoma County, so I
And
know.
your name is?
Roberta McIntyre,
Okay,
Hidden Valley.
just you have to
Thank
say
you.
it for
Yeah,
that.
I should have said it anyway, just for the
Thanks.
decorum and proper procedure anyway. But just be aware if the county is trying to raise money through enforcement actions or things like that, the government code prohibits it. So the fees charged for county staff to do their work is not allowed to exceed the cost of providing that service. So for example, if a plans examiner does a plan review and it takes them 1 hour to do that, and then at the fully burdened rate, so not just their hourly rate, whatever it costs to do that plan review, including their health insurance, the building, all that, what they call the fully burdened rate, can be charged for that plan review. So say all that amounts to $100. The county cannot arbitrarily say, oh, we need more money, therefore we're going to charge $300 for that plan review, when it only really costs us $100. Can't do it. It's against the government code. So if that comes up, we should challenge it.
Okay, thank you. Are you going to speak on this subject also?
I am not.
Okay, good, thanks.
I am not.
Thank you. So otherwise, I was going to suggest that we put it as an agenda topic item, so.
I am going to speak about an agenda as a reminder for the chair.
Okay,
Earlier in the year, we had a discussion in the community about Central Park and their time and Mama scheduling things same time as Central Park in the same area.
excuse me, Tom?
And it was a lot of hard feelings, and now I'm shocked to hear that someone jumped ahead of Mama for the park. The kids love to come to the park, play, and sit on Santa Claus's lap. Maybe it's time to get an agenda item and talk to all the organizations, Mama, M.A.T.H, anybody that runs events, and talk about scheduling so we don't step on each other's toes. I would like to have the chairperson make that an agenda item in some form, please.
Okay, we'll bring that up at the end of our agenda today. So, and check in with everyone. Okay, any other public input before we move on? Okay, board members? And real quickly, and this is something I would like to do actually at the start of each meeting, and I kind of tend to forget, but I would like to have my board members introduce themselves so that you guys all know who is sitting up here. So Charlie, if we'll start with you, whatever, just a real quick introduction. So,
Hi, I'm Charlie. I made the mistake of getting elected, so I'll be here for another year. Hi, I'm Charlie. I made the mistake of getting elected, Tanya. And so I'll be here for another year, okay? But these next elections, I'm really optimistic somebody wants my job, okay? Go ahead.
Hard to top that. Nanette Donato, and I am up for reelection in January, and I am rerunning.
Bill Waite, and I enjoy being on the board, and I guess I'm up for reelection as well.
Okay, and I'm Monica Rosenthal, the chair. Okay, so our first topic, and I was not here at the last meeting. I don't know how many of you here in the audience were here at the meeting that that Caltrans Main Street project was brought up. As I think there was some kind of discussion on that, and I guess I would like to continue that if this body so wishes to do so. So anyway, well, I'll start. As far as from the meeting minutes that I received from the last meeting in November, that there was a discussion about diagonal parking, and then from the results of that discussion was that it's not currently feasible with the new center lane that is planned for the downtown Middletown area. There was, I guess, some mention about removing the bike lanes that are currently in the plan, and Caltrans' response to that is not an option. That is part of the bike lanes are part of the state project. Diagonal parking on one side, and the result of that says causes roadway alignment problems. And then there was some discussion about tree cutouts to optimize markings being taken to taken to Caltrans as a new idea. Possible parking on Highway 175 is a strong potential. Parking shortage restricts new business, which is a major ongoing concern in this community, and that's why this discussion took place last month. Property acquisition for public parking. So, and that is a discussion yet to be had. And so with that, I would open it up for discussion of any further comments or where we want to go with this at this particular point in time.
Fletcher Thornton. I don't know how much influence we can have on Caltrans. My experience with them is they talk to you and say you're wonderful and we're here to help you, and then they do exactly what they want. What I'd like to see is I saw over in Calpe over in the valley.
Copay.
What?
Isn't it Copay or something?
Copay, or they had stamped blacktop. Why can't we get stamped blacktop on all of our intersections, and they paint them red, so that people will know they're going to a town that has crosswalks? That's a very dangerous. We've had several almost dead accidents right there at the post office, and they can stamp the asphalt just like they can concrete, paint them red, and then people will see that it's time to slow down because there's crosswalks. So that'd be something maybe the chairperson could talk to Shoup about, or whoever you need to talk to at Caltrans, see if that's possible.
Okay. So in response also to Caltrans, for better or for worse, I think we probably all know that Caltrans projects are so far out in the making. You know, it's a 25 year process. And so, for instance, like I know, regard to bike lanes, they are trying to, it's been many, many years in the making, to make communities more walkable, other forms of transportation. And so hence, that's been part of, or some of these elements are part of the plan that whoever, and the people or whatever decided on way back when, and they're just getting to it now. So there's a gap and a lapse. Yes.
More electric bikes than I do pedal bikes now. A
I'm Tanya Streetick, and maybe I just hide out down at the nursery too much, but I've been scratching my head about this whole thing about parking issues, because it just seems like there's plenty of parking on the side streets. I could be wrong, but anyway, the other thing I'm glad they're shooting down the diagonal parking. I don't know about you guys, but I drive this 2-seat CRX, and a lot of you drive cars and trucks that are 5 times that size. If I were to diagonal park between 2 trucks, I would never be able to see to back out onto Highway 29. And I think there are a lot of people who have smaller cars, and a lot of people here who have giant trucks. And I just think that diagonal parking is a bad idea, and I'm glad looks like Caltrans is shooting it down, but I would hate to see them confiscating parking for somebody's property for public parking, because I just don't see that we need it, and why can't people park a block away and walk? Anyway, that's my opinion, but there.
Thank you.
Hi, Beth Kershaw. I just was thinking the other day, we go through Calistoga quite often, and parking is an issue in Calistoga. And there's a lot of restaurants and so forth. And we have constantly talked about one lot that's there on the main drag, that it would be wise for them to make that one lot a parking area. And I got to thinking, well, we have this little piece of property that was kind of given to us as a park, if we want to use it as a park. It's not quite big enough to do a lot with. It's not that far away from the parks we already have. We might want to just consider it being public parking space. Maybe that's where the electric chargers stations would be. It's close enough to walk to here. It's close enough to walk to Hardester's. It's close enough to walk to the 2 or 3 restaurants we have. So I would just a consideration, because it may not be usable enough to really do something real cool with it. But since we might be losing some of our main drag, we might want to consider it as a parking. I bet there'd probably be at least 10. There's got to be at least 10. And you could probably keep the trees there too. I think it would just be something to think about. It would just be
So
wise.
I could ask, before we get too carried away on that or whatever, I will ask the question of the powers that be or whatever, because I believe this property belongs to Sutter, and they were donating it as a park. So if we can, if they would be amenable to donating it for parking.
For other reasons.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
So let's check on that first.
Hi, Lisa Kaplan. So question, first of all, this is a continuation of when they came here and they put things on the wall?
It's a continuation of that and a discussion that was had at the meeting last month.
Oh,
So
okay,
but
I might not have.
you missed that?
Yeah, I might have missed part of that.
So
And then you are the liaison who's giving them information? But I trust you, it's not about that. I'm just asking, is that the way this works? Because I don't see anybody here from Caltrans today.
correct. Nobody's here from Caltrans. So I have been in contact with Izzy basically just because I'm chair. Izzy has contacted me when they have come for meetings before and, forwarded information, kept in contact. But he has also been in contact with our supervisor, with Helen Owen. And I'm not sure, I haven't been involved in those conversations.
So I have a couple of questions, because as always, my problem is that nobody's looking at things in a holistic manner. It's all just here's a this and here's a that and here's a this and here's a that. And what I'd like to know is, are we talking about parking? Is this when they were going to make our sidewalks smaller too? Is that what this is part of?
Okay, so Caltrans is doing a project in the downtown corridor as well as north of town. So they are doing safety improvement projects. And so here in downtown Middletown has been identified as an area that needs some improvements because, of course, we have a highway going right through the downtown area. So Caltrans, their focus is Again, putting in like things like bike lanes so that we can have alternative means of transportation, and keeping people safe on sidewalks, as well as safe on the roads. And in this case here, for those safety features, they know we need to slow traffic down when it comes into town, because of our crosswalks, because again, it's our downtown area. So that's what they are doing from their area of expertise, putting in matters that work, that they have a proven track record of working in different towns, and they're bringing that here. But it's all based on safety. The parking issue comes from a need, again, because we have a downtown corridor, that's our downtown area, and we lack parking. And part of it comes into play because I believe there is a project in particular, and there's been 2 or 3 projects actually that have run into a difficulty with getting permits approved or moving forward because they need a required amount of parking spaces for that particular business. But is that something that the state, Caltrans, needs to provide, or is that something that we, or Lake County government needs to provide, or we the people? So there are some, as I understand from, different conversations and input and the notes from the last meeting, is that there is a belief that our economy in the downtown Middletown area is suffering because there is no parking. And or there's business operations that, like I said, are not getting permits through because of no parking. So there's a variety of different things. There's also, I'm going to tie this to, we have the general plan and the Middletown area plan that's coming forward, and other area plans that are being done. Are there policies within those documents that need to be changed in regard to downtown parking? Very similar to, like, for instance, we have a great need for housing and affordable housing. So we are currently now, or the county is currently looking at changing up some things policy-wise so that it's much easier to get permits or eliminate the permits altogether and just have it by right to be able to build a house in areas where that hasn't been the case before. For example, like having living quarters above commercial buildings.
Right. So, but Caltrans is in charge of the roads, not the rest of the stuff is
They're
county
not in charge
permits.
of parking. They're just trying to make our downtown area safer for the community.
So I recall a conversation about the sidewalks getting trimmed. Is that part of this?
As far as I know, they may be doing work on the sidewalks, but that's not, that's all part of, their road. If they need to improve, like, for instance, we do have a couple sections where we don't have sidewalks and we don't have curbs. I believe as part of this project, they are planning to put in a sidewalk there.
Are they making 3 lanes? Is that part of it? That they're making 3
A
lanes?
center lane.
And that's not going to take away from the sidewalks to do that?
That's the word that I got from him.
Yeah.
I asked about the trees and the lights, and because all the electricity.
Okay, wait, because we need to get you on a mic. Do we have a portable mic? So.
Insist, don't you?
Testing 1, 2, 3, 5.
Fletcher needs his own mic.
Yeah, the sidewalks, remember, is part of Caltrans. They own right up to the building, but all the electricity and street lights and everything is in their right of way. They'd have to take all that out. So I asked them, do you plan to put in, take our street lights out and put in Caltrans lights, the big tall ones? They said no. Only the intersection at 175 and 29 is what, but I haven't seen that in writing, so I don't know what the hell they're going to do.
So, well, there is a discussion on lights that, so there is, and perhaps that's something that we need to have with our supervisor as well. With the lights,
The old style or the new style?
No, with the lights that we currently have in town, they are they are there. If they are kind of like maintained by special districts, the County of Lake special districts. However, special districts doesn't really do anything without a local citizen. Last year it was me. This year, Chanel from Mail and More went out. Basically, you need to go and identify the lights that are burnt out. You need to get the number off of the post, and you need to call it into special districts. They take the list. Okay, so we have, I think it's about 15 or 16 lights that are out, and I know when I did it last year, it was about the same. And I'm not sure how long this process takes, but basically you call it into special districts, and then special districts contacts PG&E. PG&E is the one responsible for replacing the bulbs. But we can't call directly to PG&E. We have to work through special districts. And like I said, a local citizen, one of us, needs to go, oh, it's getting dark early now, and look, there's no lights. Correct.
So back
But
to
if Caltrans puts in their own lights, or wherever Caltrans puts in their lights, Caltrans will maintain those lights. So, and then there's also the question of how much money do we, the County of Lake, have in maintaining and caring for our lights? And of course, our lights are limited, which I'm sure Caltrans lights would be limited as well, with what we can put on them, etc.
So it seems to me, and forgive me if I got this wrong, but it seems to me what I heard is that they are trying to help drive up business in Middletown as well as safety. Is that correct? Like to keep the people safe, but also to help drive up business?
Who are they?
Caltrans, yeah.
No, Caltrans is, their project is strictly a safety project.
Strictly
And
safety, and Lake County, the County of Lake is concerned with the business? Okay,
Correct.
well, what I
Or
was
the
gonna...
citizens, as I understand it, there are certain citizens that have had conversations with our supervisor expressing concern over parking.
And that's about permits.
Permits
Oh, that
and
there's not
parking.
enough parking, and then they can't get the, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Just while you're having a conversation with Caltrans, could you ask them about us putting like banners over the thing? Like something like "Welcome to Middletown," that kind of thing, because they keep saying no. Because they keep saying no.
They will say no. They will say no.
Why? No, they haven't. They do it. That's what they do have. So that's what I'm saying. While you're having a conversation, while you're talking to them, like we would really like that at Mama, right? We've been talking about that for years. So
It's not just the highway, it's the right of way on both sides. It's so big.
But you're asking for banners on the light post?
no, we want something across.
Oh, good God.
Mama has been talking about that for forever.
That's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You can ask.
Okay. Yeah.
But we can ask again.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
You need to get a grant, Lisa. Get a grant for that, and then
Banners,
No,
I
no,
want
no,
is a
for the-
grant- I want a grant to paint the street.
yeah.
So, like it was saying, red.
Hi, Pat.
Hi there.
What do you have?
Well, I just want to, Pat Roy, this talk of this lack of parking, I'd love to see where this exists, because the only place that I've ever experienced what I could possibly think of as a lack of parking is when I go to the post office and I actually have to go around the block, oh my God, and walk 75 feet to get in. I mean, there's so much parking. You especially you get off, there's right here on the highway, every side street, every back street. There is, I've lived in San Francisco. I know what a lack of parking is. And we are absolutely not Calistoga. We could have 5 restaurants open and with dinner seating, I mean, my Lord, there is so much parking. So if the issue is some sort of bureaucratic snafu that says, oh no, you cannot open, a business unless you provide 20 new parking spaces, because if you were in downtown Calistoga, it would be an issue. Something needs to be done because we've got lots. And I have not seen the shortage. I can't imagine. Probably this requirement needs to be really rethought in terms of actual availability.
Thank you. Hi.
How's it going? My name is David Campbell. Just come off here.
Yeah.
And I have 3 businesses downtown. I got Noble Saloon, I got Stonehouse Restaurant, and then I also own the building next door, the Bunkhouse. We have a shortage of parking. During rush hour coming home, there is no parking. I get all Main Street, the side streets, there is no parking. There's nowhere. If you go onto a side street, there's no sidewalks to park against. There's nowhere to park.
Okay, Pat.
I'm not going to argue. But anyways, I own 3 businesses down there. There is no parking. We do need more parking. During rush hour, I get told all day, well, I would stop by, but there's no parking. If people don't see parking, they're not looking for it. They're not going to go. So that whole idea of down there by the B&G, that lot, I would really like to see that as a parking lot, if we could. That bit by the liquor store,
yeah.
by the Biazotti. I think that'd be great, because I don't want to take anybody's property either, but
Right.
since they're offering that, that'd be good.
Right, you're right. You're right.
Monica,
Thank you. Yes.
I'd
Nanette.
like to tail off of his.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think out of the box, but between Beulah's and Tri-Counties Bank, there's a big lot there. Is that owned by? Okay, and that's not possible? Because it's just, okay, an ugly lot. Sorry.
That's
Okay.
they are
Gonna
they're
build
one of the
something.
ones that are trying to
Okay.
do a building and have
There's
Yeah.
kind of a gravelly area next to the farmers that closed down right on Main Street and the Signal. And I mean, people park there, but it's, precarious. There's holes in that. And then behind the post office, there's a big lot. I'm just trying to think of areas that are close to Main Street besides the park that we want to have that would be available for parking other than on the street. To me, there are some areas that could be, even if it was only 10 spaces, it would help.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. My name's Brian Varner. I'm Dave's business partner, and in Nobles. And I think a big picture needs to be looked at, and it's not necessarily what the project is, of what Caltrans is doing. I think the question needs to be asked is, what do we want Middletown to be? Now, if you look at many towns across America, and I've traveled quite a bit, the state comes through and they bypass these little towns, and they die. And they all get boarded up, and I can point out hundreds of them. I can take you on tours. And when you look at Middletown, we have these beautiful buildings, and they're vacant. Would we like to be a town that people stop and come and visit and want to stay? Or do we want to be a pass-through town? And right now, if you make it a pass-through town with no parking, because that's the only thing that's going to stop them. The number one complaint I get at the bar is, I would have stopped by, but there was no parking out front, so I went home. So if we could get 5 more spots downtown, I'd have 5 more customers in my business. I can't imagine the rest of the businesses. And then if we had 10 more spots, you might even get another storefront. And it'd be cool, you could have a town that people stop and want to walk. Now, on my vacations, I travel, and I like to see these little towns, and I like to look at the culture, and I like to look at the antique stores and their little shops, and I talk to the people. And the towns come together and they say, we're going to survive. So if you don't want Middletown to grow, maybe we should just build a causeway around it and send all the traffic up to the next town so they can have the economy. But I think it's a question that Middletown needs to ask. It's not up to me. It's what you all decide. So I hope that we look at our neighbors and we say, hey, we're going to support each other, and let's build this little community. Let's make it a little town that people want to stop at, maybe walk around and see the arts and see the culture and buy a couple knickknacks and be on their way and say, wow, tell their friends stop by Middletown. It's a pleasant place. So, thank you.
I'll give you my spiel that I've been giving for the last 10 years. The problem in Middletown is not, we don't need more businesses. We have businesses. We need more customers. We need people. And you have people, you can only have people when you have houses. And that's why I was excited to hear Monica talk about building, doing something, getting rid of permits or cutting the price. That's positive work right there. That's really positive. But we need, and then we need to decide how we're going to build Middletown. If you continue building Middletown along 29 and it becomes 3 or 4 miles long, then the state will do what they did to Willits. They'll go around it, and that'll be the end of Middletown. So we have property out 175, property out Big Butts Canyon Road, that plenty of property to build on. We've just got to get it in our mind that that's where we want to build. And don't let the developers come in and tell you they want to build on top of a mountain somewhere. If you want to grow around Middletown, this is what the Middletown people want. Growth out that way, growth east, but not north and south. So it's up to the people of Middletown, but we have to decide. We need more customers, which means we need more rooftops, and for the building department and the planning department to make it easier for those houses to be built would be a great plus for everyone.
Okay.
Which topic are you on? Are you
Yeah, we're moving, I think. we're moving.
You're
So,
bridging
well, no, it never is. So, so let me just throw this out there. Do we want to maybe form a parking committee? Anybody willing to serve on a parking committee?
You got all kinds of hands back there. Yeah. Good.
Okay. I'm writing down names. That was Dave back there. Fletcher. Gotcha, Randy. Shannon. And Nanette. Because yes, if we could find, some parking that's off of, to me, it would be safer if it was off the highway. So, and then, possibly it could be incorporated that there is a parking sign that helps people find the parking, would be awesome. So.
And then where would we get the funds to do that? Is that a?
You gotta have a speaker.
Okay, wait, you gotta, yeah.
When we came and we brought it to Comstock that we wanted to build a park here, everybody said, we don't have the money for that. And Comstock went to the manager of the county, what was his name?
Kelly Cox.
Kelly Cox.
Kelly Cox was awesome.
Yeah, Kelly Cox, God bless him. And the guy paid $800,000 for the property when he bought it. Kelly got him to take $500,000 and write the rest of it off. So you can do anything you want to do if you try.
If you want to do it.
If you gotta want to do it. And that place right across from the Stone House would be a lovely place to put some parking. It's right next to Hardester's, next to the businesses, one block and a half from the post office, so it'd be perfect.
Are you talking about next to Beulah's?
No,
Next to Beulah's, yes.
Oh, no, that's.
Oh, but
already-
that's
I
already.
know. That was owned. That was owned too. We just bought it. And it can be done, believe me. We just have to have the will to do it.
Okay. So when is the parking committee going to have their first meeting?
What about that lot behind the car wash too? How's that?
Yeah, one with all the trees on it.
Pardon? Where all the trees are?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I think there's a lot of areas.
Good.
I don't think the brands, after putting all that money into their plan for that spot next to Hewlett's, are gonna wanna sell it for
Yeah. So now to your comments, though you were kind of moving us into the next item on the agenda. Do we still want to talk about parking or Caltrans? So, and again, I wasn't here at the last meeting, so if there was anything that came up that we want to explore, we want to talk to our supervisor about, or you want me to send a note to Caltrans, to Izzy?
I think we told
So-
our supervisor that they want, that most people want some diagonal parking, which I don't think is possible, but
Yeah,
Anyway.
diagonal parking's out.
I think so,
I guess,
too.
according to Caltrans.
Too dangerous.
So, yeah.
Cal- Caltrans is not building a road that's, Caltrans is not gonna make changes to downtown to help us get parking places for businesses. That's a known fact. It's that way in Calistoga, it's that way on any state highway. They're looking at safety matters and that's it. So it is up to us, and I agree the plan, and that's what we've been talking about all along, is designing the town and putting all this into effect. And that's what we need to do. I think there are places here in town that would make great parking places. What, you know, how practical they are, who knows? But none of it is possible until we do it. But part of what's there too is we got to mark these. One of the biggest issues in Calistoga, there's plenty of parking in Calistoga, but there's no signs that says public parking. And to try to find those places, unless you've been traveling to Calistoga for 30 years like I have, and my wife and other people, you find these little niches that are back behind the businesses. And that's what Santa Fe did, is they had these lots behind the businesses, and they made these multi-story parking places. So-
And by the way, that's what the current Middletown area plan indicates, is that there was a move towards having businesses up front so that they are visible for people coming through and not be blocked by excessive parking, and having parking on the side or to the rear. So that's what's in our current Middletown area plan, which again, if the community wishes to change those policies, that's okay. But that basically, in my opinion, both with the general plan, that's supposed to be a guiding planning document, and then with the area plans, that's what, you know, some of these agencies look to also to see, you know, what was voted on by the people. And that's how they build their plan. So that's why, again, as we move into the next topic, with the Middletown area plan, we need to get some things right, because we are not the only ones that look at that or put it up on a shelf and don't look at it, but there are other agencies that look at our plan and, you know, are looking to develop, looking to build houses, looking, you know, to bring businesses and stuff. And so we need to have policies in the plan that accommodate what we want. As Brian said, what do we want our town to be?
I agree.
Are we gonna talk about the multi-million-dollar projects that Caltrans did brief us? I thought that was gonna be included here. Where they were gonna come in and they were gonna change the roads and everything?
Well, that's what
we had a briefing about this time last year.
that's what we've been talking about.
Okay.
That's exactly what we've been talking about. And so they made a few changes and exploring ideas that some community members had put forward. And that was, for example, the diagonal parking. That wasn't part of their original presentation to us. So they did up a variation of the plan with diagonal parking and found out it's not going to work.
Okay.
So-
That's what we went over last.
Beth Kershaw again. One of the things that I have noticed with parking behind the buildings, which is a great idea, and I do it a lot when I'm going into Rosales all the time, but the roads between them are in such bad shape that it's dark. It's kind of scary. If I want to go get some tacos at Rosales and it's dark and I'm back there and I'm thinking, oh, I think I want to park in front. I'm just saying, that the county is responsible for the roads behind the main drag. So if there's ruts and there's no stop sign because it's been gone and wasn't there, and who's yielding, and those are things that need to be taken into consideration too if you're trying to make people go off the main drag to park.
Well, just remember that all those back lots are owned by businesses. You can't just go in and say, we're going to make this public parking.
No, I know, but I'm pulling into the businesses behind Nobles, and I'm wondering, gosh, it's awful dark back here. What if someone coming out runs into me while I'm just going to pick up my tacos because it's just such a bad road without the proper stop signs and the yields and the potholes and everything.
And lighting.
So, and the lighting, right. So I'm just saying, if you're going to take people off main drag and not in a parking lot, and you're trying to do like Calistoga does in the building behind, then the driveways, and it has to be maintained. That's all I'm saying.
You know, one thing to keep in mind is Caltrans doesn't have a problem with diagonal parking. They don't have a problem with diagonal parking. What they have a problem with is us backing out of that diagonal parking onto 29. They believe it's going to cause a big problem. And what's going to happen is the traffic in the lane will automatically try to pass them in the center lane, which is a turn lane, and it'll cause a big mess. That's their concern.
All right. So I'm going to move on to the next topic, because we're kind of flowing right into that with the Middletown area plan. And again, I wasn't here at the last meeting, but I did get some very thorough notes from our secretary about the conversation about the Middletown area plan. The number one, okay, let me just try to give some background on that also before I get started in that. But Middletown area plan is part of the Lake County 2050 plan, and that's redoing the general plan and all the 9 area plans throughout Lake County all at the same time in one fell sweep. And I don't even remember when it was. Was it? Yeah, it was this time last year. It was this time last year that there was a slew of meetings that were held throughout Lake County for all of the 9 area plans, as well as the general plan committee was meeting. And I know for the Middletown area plan, I want to say there were 3 or 4 meetings that were all Zoom meetings. So I know I attended at least 2 of those, and there were only maybe 6 or 7 people on those Zoom meetings. And then we had one in-person meeting that was held here in this room. Well, first off, we had a meeting to begin with when the plans were introduced, and that was held in this room, and we had quite a few people here then, and that was, you know, a discussion that was just an introduction to what was happening for Lake County 2050. Then from there, it broke out into what they're calling the LAPAC groups, and I forget what that acronym stands for, but nonetheless, we have a Middletown LAPAC group, and we have all those other LAPAC groups, and then there's the General Plan Committee. So, like I said, there were like 3 or 4 Zoom meetings, and then there was one meeting that was held here live and in person that probably about 20 people, 25 people maybe attended.
Maybe more than that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's full.
No, that was a table in the middle of the room.
It was big.
No, the first one was big.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The one that I went to here had a lot of people.
yeah. Well,
It had 6 or 8 tables.
that was the first one, I think. But anyway, okay, but that's been the gist of the meetings to date for the most part. And then there's a consulting firm that has been hired by the county, who basically all that information came in, and you can find that on the Lake County 2050 website. There are attachments for the meeting minutes for all of those meetings that were held, so you can look at those and get all the background and the updates on those meetings that have been held thus far. And so then after the meetings completed about this time last year, then it went to the contractor, to the what are they called? PlaceWorks, thank you. So then all that information went to PlaceWorks, and PlaceWorks is putting all that information together, and then at some point, it's supposed to come back to us. And I believe that, or at least I was told, the last thing I was told, not to say that this is going to happen exactly, because things always change, but I was told that it was going to be fed back through, and math would be a participant in that, as far as it would come back through this group, through the town hall, the municipal advisory councils that have been established throughout the county also in various different locations, such as, I believe Tom had mentioned, Earth. That is a town hall much like ours that happens on the North Shore. Now, there is also, as I said, LAPAC. LAPAC is the committee the Board of Supervisors decided to appoint. Number one, they appointed a group, a general plan advisory group, of which Margot is a member of. They picked various different individuals who also applied, sent in an application to serve on that. But they tried to select different individuals from throughout the county to serve on the general plan committee and representing a variety of different interests, business interests, etc. So Dan Terrell is on the general plan committee as a representative from, anybody know Dan Terrell? Okay. So he is on the general plan committee. There was also the Middletown Area Plan Committee was formed. That is the Middletown LAPAC. And so that was formed when Moke Simon was supervisor for the area. And he appointed, there were several people that sent in applications, including Fletcher and myself, who were not appointed at that time. But the folks that were appointed initially, there were 7. The Board of Supervisors decided that there would be 9 LAPAC members. Mr. Simon appointed 7 members at that particular time, and those members were Greta from Backyards, south of town here, who has the B&B there south of town. Shannon was appointed. Beth Rudiger. From that time, she was owner of Jazzercise, or still, I think she was still part-time owner, or she owns the property there. Melissa Kinsell from Hidden Valley Lake. Tom Grossi, who is also just a little bit south of town, just south of the casino. Larry Guadalupe from the hotel. And Bill was appointed as the math representative. Once Helen became supervisor, she filled out the slate to 9 members, and she appointed myself, and she appointed Hank Lesher to the group as well. But at that particular time, both Hank and myself joined the committee after there was no longer any committee work going on. So we did as a committee, because a few of us, such as like in this setting, would run into each other and say, much like I think this group here, certain individuals in this group are saying, what's going on, with the Middletown Area Plan. So this group of people that I just read off that serve on the LAPAC, we did have a few meetings where we got together basically to get acquainted and to learn a little bit more about the process and about what's the expectations, in the sense so that we could be better representatives or make sure that we serve, that we're serving the needs of the community. So we did hold a couple of meetings, and now we would like to, as far as bring it back to this body and engage, because now we feel a little bit better equipped also. There were members that were appointed in the LAPAC, and this is not only unique to Middletown. This has happened on the LAPAC and also on the general plan group throughout the county, where it was such a fast process. And I know Mr. Thornton was part of or participated quite a bit in the area plan that we currently have. And that was almost it was a good solid 3-year plus, project where there were many, many discussions, many meetings held, and we talked about a lot of different issues. You know, we had, or there were contractors that came in and gave some perspective. There were real estate people that came in and gave perspective. There was a lot of work going on, perhaps too much because it went on way too long. But in comparison to the way the processes work this year, or this time around, this is like lacking. And that's, I know, from our meetings, the few meetings that we had getting together here more recently as a LAPAC group, you know, that we were all like, what are we doing? So anyway, so just to report back, as far as the LAPAC group, I think feels like they have more of a solid foundation. You know, we've gotten together and talked, we've looked at some maps, you know, and decided on, you know, kind of some of the things that we want to be able to be out in the community talking about, so that, you know, it is a true representation of the community desires for the future growth of Middletown, which encompasses the Middletown area plan. That's the map on the back wall there. You know, that includes Hidden Valley Lake and beyond. So the borders, which also may be up for consideration, because at some point somebody wanted to move the boundaries a little bit, like on the Cobb line. And that's something that we need to make sure we have a solid foundation on. Do we want to hold the line and keep the boundary that we currently have, or do we want to shift it? So anyway, so there's a lot to do with the Middletown area plan. I don't know if anybody has looked at it. It is online under the Lake County documents. You can go to the Lake County website and you can find documents, including the general plan, the area plans. The Middletown plan is there. So this is the booklet. This was the plan that was put together before and is looking at updating. And the updating too, one of the reasons why all this updating is happening, because we have a lot of different things that have changed, such as cannabis. So, and we don't have any policies in our general plan or Middletown area plan that accommodate cannabis as an agricultural crop. And exactly, we're kind of just shooting from the hip on that as we move forward. So we need to do that in regard to water, in regard to parking, in regard to what our areas, what we want them to look like design-wise. There are many facets of the plan, and you can, if you go online and take a look at the plan, if you want to engage basically in just one category, if you're only interested in trails, you know, focus on that, spend your energy there, and, you know, give this community what you can to give good input on what do we want to do with trails. Again, the plan currently, like for instance, includes policies in there talking about trails along the creek. So we've yet to develop any trails along the creek, but as Mr. Thornton said too, you know, if there's a will and we want to do it, you know, we can make it happen, but that's part of, you know, some elements of the document just get put into the document and get shelved. You know, it's like, oh, great, we wrote it, you know, and stuff, and great, it's written down, but we never act on it. So we do need to identify what are those important elements of the Middletown area plan that we want to act on. So the maps I have in the back is that one shows the boundary of the Middletown area plan and some proposed changes to it. The other map is actually an interesting map that was from when this plan was developed, and it shows kind of some of the flood zone areas, and now again that map is old, so some of the lines have changed a bit, but nonetheless it's kind of interesting if you just kind of look at it with a general scope of this is where, you know, generally where flooding is, whatever. But it also shows where the Calliope water is, where infrastructure is, where Calliope water access is, and the sewer. So because then we have within the Middletown area plan, we have the big boundary that shows on the map that's back there, and then we have the growth boundary. So, which is much tighter surrounding our community, our downtown area here, that, provides for growth and development. And to me, some things that we want to, or we should be thinking about and looking at is, do we have enough lots for housing? Also with the consideration that we have some lots that are available for housing or that are zoned high density, but perhaps they're owned by somebody who never, ever, ever plans to develop it. But we do need to look at, our density, what's R1, R2, or the higher density, R3. We also need to look at commercial zoning. And this is where I disagree with Fletcher a bit, because I do think we in my opinion, we also need to consider that we have the casino, which I don't know exactly what the plans are for the casino, but I do know that they have plans for developing and growing out. One of the things that happens in small towns is that you do have, when you have development, wherever the development is on the outskirts of your town is where traffic begins to slow. So we have, we've got something going on there. If anything, if we have water and, one of the big expenses is sewer, getting sewer to a location and stuff. But if it's easy to get water and sewer to a certain location, that's good for development of any kind, housing and or commercial development. So while I don't really see putting housing on the highway, but closing in that corridor between whatever the casino is doing and where our town starts, with that corner there, would really slow traffic as they approach. So anyway, those are just some ideas that I have, but those are some of the things that we need to be taking a look at is just housing, because housing is a need, and higher density housing, affordable housing. And also, we need to get commercial, like community commercial, I'm not talking manufacturing or, big heavy equipment commercial and stuff, but we have, for instance, the roofing company, Curtis Roofing. They forever were doing business out of the storage shed units in Hidden Valley because they cannot find or could not find a place to host their business. So they used a storage shed and used a couple of storage shed units. So we need to have good commercial space available that has access to infrastructure.
Time's up.
Thanks. That's an introduction.
This plan here that was worked on for 3 years and now it's going to be updated, do you plan on having any subcommittees for specific areas that the community could be involved in to make sure that the public has a chance to make the committee members know what we're thinking?
All the meetings.
That would
but that's for the whole totality. I'm talking about sub parts of this plan,
Great.
like
That would
trails necessarily. Or
That would be great. That would be great.
Okay,
If somebody,
okay.
that's what I would love to engage the members here of M.A.T.H. to
Yeah.
do just that.
Yeah.
So to research some information or whatever and bring it back. We also have, which was brought up, like we have the Butts Canyon area, especially with the M.A.T.H. development, coming in further out and stuff. Is there any, right now we don't have any development there. What kind of development do we want in that area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I'm saying that is, the county has a community development department. Are they paying attention to what the plan is and what the community is and the plan's goal is for the area? And so if the community is really, really involved in this, then maybe they'll have more impact on what happens with the community development department with the county. Because
Exactly.
when they're issuing permits or whatever, they should, part of that permit compliance should say, does that fall into line up with the area plan? So I'm just, I'm just saying maybe subcommittees within these groups would be kind of a good idea. Just a
I
suggestion.
totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can answer that because I do developments, and I can guarantee you that the planning department goes to the area plan, and the planning commission always checks to see if it's your project, your permit application is consistent with the area plan. Not so much the general plan, but they're really interested in the area plan. On planning, we always thought, and I think every planner thinks this way, is that downtown should be higher density than outlying. We don't need 5-acre parcels downtown. It eats up land, makes the cost of housing goes up. You cannot build an affordable house on 5 acres. It just doesn't work. So when you think about density and walkability means you can come out of your house and go to the post office, go to the grocery store without firing up your car and having to worry about parking. Walkability is important. So the density should be high, multi-families, downtown within, I don't know, half a mile, quarter mile, Monica, I don't know. But, and then as you go out, you can have bigger lots. It makes more sense. But I guarantee you, the planning commission looks at the area plan on everything that you want to build. They want to know if it's consistent with the area plan. I can tell you firsthand, I've had to face Monica more than once, and I know that that's very important to her.
The other thing is developers look at the plan. So developers that want to come into the area here and buy a lot, buy a place, they look at the plan. So,
Good.
yes, Charlie.
Yeah, I'm glad we're finally talking about this because we spent the first 6 months of this year saying we got to work on the Middletown plan. Then nobody mentioned these LAPAC groups or anything like that. You're saying they were appointed by M.A.T.H and they're not appointed by Helen. That's number one. And how are the? I mean,
Well, no, it was the LAPAC group was initiated when M.A.T.H was the District 1 supervisor.
Okay.
So yes, so he as the seated supervisor appointed the folks that submitted applications. So there is an application process that you have to apply.
Okay.
So there were
was that
9
announced
Yeah.
somewhere in here? Because I mean, that's a very good document, and the people who built that, they did a really good job.
Which,
You've got
you mean
like
this?
you mentioned Greta.
Oh.
Greta's got her place for sale. I mean, she doesn't give a damn about anything, and she's going to be making the decisions and then moving out.
You'd be surprised. I would say that in the LAPAC group or whatever, she has done quite a bit of work.
Okay.
She actually went through, when the homework assignment was put out by the Community Development Department, she read through each policy and made comments on it. She was probably the only one out of the 7 members that were appointed that actually read each and every policy and commented. So, no, she is...
Not only that, it's un-American to criticize Greta.
I don't know about that. She's one of my neighbors. You got to live next door to her, okay? Okay.
She does care, though.
No, my concern is that we have the right people in the right place. I know that the team that built that before did a really good job. Hank Lesher told me about it, but it seems that the county wants to take control of this, whereas before it was something that was homegrown and it was built here in Middletown over at Calpine. Yeah. And if there's a group like that where we can walk in and sit down with them and talk to them like they did it before, that would be wonderful. Right now I'm worried that with having you in the position you're in and having Helen in the position she's in, all these decisions are going to be made and we aren't going to have any say in it until it's too late. Personally, I want to go page by page and compare everything. And when it comes to the cannabis stuff, it's going to be an astounding amount of work to figure out what it is. One of the things that Hank brought up in the group at the M.A.T.H about 2 months ago was, does anybody in South County want to change their zoning? And then we were all like, what the hell? Why would we want to change our zoning? That's not something we even consider. Is this something that's in the work?
Okay,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah, we need to know. I mean, send us a letter or something. But I don't want somebody else arbitrarily changing my zoning to commercial when I'm, residential, you know, so.
So,
that's all I
so
got.
this area plan was created by it was initiated by the county as well. So they were county meetings. It's just that it was done in a different style and different fashion. There were a lot more members participating in it. They actually started off with too many people, and halfway through the process, they cut some of the people out and shrunk the group to about 2/3 of a group. But nonetheless, they worked diligently on it and heard from many different facets of maybe sometimes too many, but they had presentations made to that group. And they had, like, for instance, the map in the back that showed where we had infrastructure. So anyway, so it just the format of it, the way it's being done now is very different. I'm not going to say that it's bad or good, but it's different. There is a process in the county that you move forward with doing. I don't know if this is associated with a grant or not. Is it, Margot?
General plan, yes.
Yes. Okay. So, and that may have been the impetus to start this whole process, because I know that the county tied in all the area plans along with the general plan because they do want them to work together as a unit. So they kind of threw this all into this the grant process that's provided. Now, when you have grants, as Lisa can probably school us on that, is that the grants, often have parameters that you have to work in. So I believe that there is probably a timeline on this as well. And so that could be why this is a little bit more expedited and being done the way that it is. So because again, we are not a rich county, so when monies are available, the county has to act on, and there was a great need, a great knowledge, especially like I said, cannabis is one of the reasons why, but we also have cell tower issues, with change to 5G. We just have a lot of different changes with technology and stuff that our policies here are no longer working well for us. So, yeah. So, and again, you put together a plan like this here. The general plan is supposed to have a lifespan of 20 years. Think back in your own life what 20 years ago looked like and what it looks like today. That's, the same applies to a general plan or area plan. So it does. There's certain pieces of it that outdate very quickly. Other pieces of this project are intact. And that's what we need to identify. What pieces do we need to work on, and what pieces can we just leave the way they are? And that's one of the things that Greta did. So,
Right, I've seen that. And so the question is, you've brought it to this forum, thank you. And you're doing a great job, but like the forum wants to have a voice.
Yes.
And so this is like whatever Fletcher said, I mean, it might be written down in some notes, but it's not official. It's like, it seems to me that we need to make a special meeting for looking at this and have things on the wall that we can put, and that it gets recorded, and maybe there's a facilitator so that our voices are really heard and we're not just mouthing, and just sharing with ourselves, but rather it's actually recorded and it goes, and it's like, these are what the people of Middletown want, and addressing even some of the things that Greta was talking about. And does somebody know how to make it warm in here? It's freezing. It's freezing. You don't know how to adjust the heat? Oh my God, it's the thermostat. But yeah. But
okay, everybody stand up. We're doing jumping jacks.
Okay, but seriously, it's like we were told that we would have input because we started here and it was supposed to come back to us.
Exactly.
And so we have to. If it's you, then you have to say, hey, we want the facilitator for a day for the math people.
Well, I'll pat myself on the back here a little bit or whatever, because I was a big proponent of constantly saying to the Board of Supervisors, and anytime I had an opportunity, to say, why were LAPAC started? Because we have municipal advisory councils throughout the county So, I mean, in some spots they were missing municipal, councils, so fine, appoint a committee there. But I said, why did we do a LAPAC group when we have a municipal advisory council? So, right.
Thank you.
So I tried. Yeah, because we probably, yeah, right.
Oh, hi, Shannon Sanders from Middletown. In response to Charlie was regarding the zoning changes, all property owners were submitted with a little note from Maria Turner explaining that there was a proposed zoning change.
And that
That's
was
something that they hadn't
your
done in
area
the
they did
past.
that?
They already did that, yeah, and they
Where
had a
you live?
meeting.
On Butts Canyon Road?
Oh, no, they didn't meet on Butts Canyon Road. They met at
But
the-
No.
But you're talking about, I'm sorry, but you're talking about because your property is up for a possible zoning change, so you were notified.
Yeah.
But I think what Charlie was talking about was that Hank, I think, made a public announcement saying, if you have a property that you want to have rezoned, you should raise your hand.
Oh, yeah.
So-
No, I was just saying, not just my property, but
Yeah.
all properties that were considered for a zoning change, they were notified. And
Correct. So, but what I'm saying, Charlie was never notified that his property could be considered for a zoning change if he,
How am I gonna know what's happening?
so,
well,
so
well, and
Specifically,
then
Hank said South County, so south of the casino. So we didn't receive anything, and I really have problem with our little community, somebody making a decision, especially if it's Greta and she's moving out and she's got her place for sale.
and I
That's
thi-
my big deal, okay?
and I think the one element I did like about the LAPAC, Local Area Planning Advisory Committee, was they were all open to the public, which I thought was an important aspect because you could get the public input on the formal LAPAC meetings. And that the initial meeting we had before there was even LAPAC members chosen, that there was quite a few. This whole room was packed.
Yes.
I believe Fletcher was here. You might have been. And people outlined sort of they broke up into several groups of about 20, and there was like 4 of them or so. And they broke down what they considered important, keeping the old town feel with a kind of the central line, not doing too much sprawl. They weren't very interested in huge subdivisions or anything in the Middletown area proper here. And then they went over some other things like, oh, we love coffee shops, we love restaurants, we love these type of things. So they kind of created some general parameters, but I just wanted to
Well,
clarify it a little
I
bit.
think that we have to actively keep our finger on the pulse and actively discuss this in math, okay? And I think it has to be something that we do at least, maybe every 3 months, see where their progress is, see which pages of this document is going to stay the same, what's going to change. Cannabis is going to be a huge monster no matter what we do. That's really what I want to see, happen with this more than anything else. What I don't want to do is get sideswiped and somebody produces a document that we suddenly have to appeal, because it's harder to fix something after it's been submitted to the county.
Yeah.
Now, if Monica is making the decision and Helen's making the decision and we don't have our fingers on the pulse, we're kind of screwed when it comes to
Monica and Helen are not making the decisions.
if. I said
Okay.
if, okay? It's a big
I
word.
just wanted, but you said it now a couple
Well-
times, so I just want to
well, I-
clarify,
you know,
Monica and
yeah.
Helen are not making the
Well,
decisions.
what
Okay.
happens, Monica,
It's
is
just
if there's a
Monica.
conflict,
Yeah, just me.
if there's a conflict
Yeah,
of
it's just
interest,
me.
it affects all of us, okay, Monica?
Okay.
So it's not about being a victim, it's just the conflict of interest is too high.
And LAPAC will have additional.
Absolutely right. That late pack was ever the problem. Didn't know anything about Middletown area and all that. M.A.T.H should have been the vehicle for giving input back to the county.
Yeah, so we're moving
And there will
forward.
be another formal LAPAC meeting first of the year, so we can announce that and people can
Correct.
be involved in that. And again, it's open to the public. That's what it's all about.
Exactly, and then this group,
I'm like a crooner.
and this group, because I always take I always take agenda recommendations from this body. So, and if we want to start focusing on the Middletown area plan, which we should, because this is going to be coming back around early in 2026, and we need to be ready for it. So, okay, so we'll get, and we're going to, so this will be the last comment on this subject, and then we'll get on with our agenda so we can set the agenda for January.
Okay. Well, Helen and Monica told me that, well, what, actually, seriously, what I would suggest, hearing what's going on, and, you know, my wife's been involved with this as well. This is not unusual. We're hearing this in other areas where, you know, CDD comes out and says, oh, we had all this great public input. And, you know, the individuals say, well, no, we didn't. I don't think it was as great as CDD claims. What I would suggest, very briefly, because this is the last comment, I promise, is that you are an advisory council, an advisory board. You do have the authority to write a letter to the board saying, we don't believe we had the representation that we feel you deserve, and get it in front of them, because right now CDD says, well, we had this meeting and that meeting, but they don't mention nobody showed up, or there's only a couple people there. But I think it would be really valuable, and it's one of the things you do have the authority to do, is to write a letter to the board saying, we don't think the process is the way we would like it, and we want whatever it is you want. Thank you.
Yep. That's,
Ask how many people were at that meeting that was held here.
how many people were here at that first? How many people that are here right now went to that first meeting introducing the area plan? Okay.
Was it?
Oh, do you want to count?
It was not part of the math meeting. It was a separate
Nanette,
meeting.
can you count? Can you count the hands?
1, 2.
You can stand up.
1, 2, 3, 4,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if we can get the date put on the next agenda so that people can review it, that'd be great. Yeah. Put the peg on the agenda so they can review it. So if they didn't go and they want to catch up, because it's important, maybe we should put a couple of pegs on the bottom of this document next month.
Pegs?
Links, peg links.
Oh.
He calls himself, what's he call himself, a peg or something?
Well,
Peg
okay.
TV. Put a peg TV in there.
Okay, so, right, we need to get together and discuss. But as far as for reading it, yes, I would highly suggest that people go online and pull up the document, and again, you know, decide on what areas of interest are. And I'm not saying you have to read all. I don't know. It's like 250 pages. I'm not saying you have to read the entire document, you know, but focus in on whatever is important to you and read that so that you are prepared, so you know what is already currently there, and you know, and how we can improve it. So because it's not very helpful, I got to say, it's not very helpful if somebody comes in and says, let's do Trails by the Creek. That's already in there. It's already in there. You know, so again, it's in there. That's something that then next step is that we can decide to take action on that. You know, we can identify certain projects that are in here and say we want it to happen, not just be written in the document. You know, but so you have to, if you come up with an idea, check the document, see if your idea is already in there. If it is, maybe the policy needs to be fleshed out a little bit. Maybe it needs to be changed a little bit. You know, so take a look at it. That I'm going to object to my fellow board member here asking me like to put links and stuff. We are volunteers here, and we have a limited amount of time, as well as everybody here does. But if you have an interest, go to the site and find the document. So, you know, I would ask, I guess, that you take some personal responsibility. Don't wait for it to be spoon-fed to you, because it's not going to happen. So the county's not doing that. So that's just not how the process is working. So if you want to be involved, you do have to engage.
Monica, okay? I have a rebuttal, and that is basically that information is power. And if there was a discussion and things were said, we need to be held accountable for what we've said in the meetings, in the math meetings. Okay, going to the, saying go to the website, that's a whole nother story. I mean, a lot of these folks are not going to go to the website. They come here for information, and we're like a newspaper. We have to give them the information or tell them where to find it. But
I just did.
okay, yeah, okay. So, I mean, I'm asking for someone to put a link to a PEG TV that happened in August of last year that maybe we just had a whole discussion about. It's not asking too much, okay? I mean, I'll do the research and hand it to you, and all you got to do is push a button and boom, you
Okay.
can print it out, okay?
You can find all the links that you would like
Right.
to, and then you can shoot them over to our secretary who's absent
I
today.
sent you one already to your phone, so, okay.
So, okay. Well, I don't do that anyway. Yeah. Okay, so we'll talk later. Moving on. How about that? So we have approval of the November meeting minutes. Can I get a motion? Anybody read them? Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so moved. We have, our secretary's not here. So I think in the email for the agenda, the Adopt a Fifth Grader program was sent out to everybody. So if you have an interest in that, you can follow up with that. And the climate adaptation review was also, there's a link. There's a link. Comments from District 1 Supervisor. She's not with us this evening. Nominations for the math board seats open October through December. We currently have 3 board nominations. Nanette, Bill Waite, and Tara, our current secretary, have all been nominated and have accepted those nominations. I believe at the last meeting that Pat Roy was also nominated, but, and Pat, are you still here? Yeah. Okay. Oh, there you are.
Yes, I'd love to be a alternate.
Okay.
I'm accepting nominations to be an alternate.
Okay, so that for clarification for the group is that right now we are accepting nominations for the board. The alternates are elected in January, so we don't actually take the nomination for the alternate. But so nominations are open. Is there anybody else that wants to be considered to serve on the board?
Way to go, Shannon.
No, it's
I'd like
just,
to nominate somebody.
okay, well, wait, we're on Shannon. So, do you accept?
I do accept.
Okay.
May I take a nomination as well?
Yeah, well, Charlie was next, I think.
I'd like to nominate Elizabeth, right here in the red vest.
Okay.
New people is good.
Yes. Elizabeth, do you accept? Okay. Shannon?
Yeah, I would like to nominate David Campbell.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Does he accept?
Do you accept?
I accept.
Okay. Wow. This is a good meeting. Yay. I think we should just expand the board. So, any other nominations? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close nominations?
One more Justin I want to nominate.
Justin?
Justin,
Has he been here 3 times?
yes.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. Justin, do you accept?
I accept.
Okay.
Nomination is closed.
Okay, we have a motion to close the nominations.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so moved. So on our next, we have the item Diego art sculpture discussion. And again, I put this on the agenda because it was discussed at the last meeting. And according to the meeting minutes in our secretary, we were going to discuss that, but that has been moved now to the January meeting. So,
Suggest
what happened to your mic? We assigned you a mic. We gave you a
Oh,
mic. You're
yeah, I
sitting
have
next
a
to.
mic. I suggest that we ask the chairperson to set the agenda with elections immediately following public input. We want to have plenty of time to give the candidates a chance to talk and give us their view of what math should be, so that we don't do it at the end and run out of time and not give them the time they need. So that's my motion, to put it on the agenda immediately following public input.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, we should give it as much time as possible.
I just want to know what to tell Diego.
Yeah, because Diego, because we did put Diego on the top of the agenda. So in that presentation will be about 15 minutes? Yeah. So that's like a 10 or 15 minute presentation. So we're going to keep Diego at the top of the agenda, and then we'll put the election. Would that be all right? So that we can get it in there? So, and now for everyone who just accepted a nomination, the candidates do have a few minutes to introduce themselves and share with the community, kind of why you want to serve on the Middletown board. And then we will have a ballot election. So we will actually have a printed ballot that will, everybody will write in their vote for 3. We have 3 seats open. Everybody will vote for 3 seats. And then our secretary, and she'll pick somebody else probably on the board to review the, to review the ballots, and then turn into, we'll give her 10, 15 minutes to count, and then announce whoever has been elected.
Get someone from the assembly, one person from the assembly, to be part of the count.
You could do that.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
So, yeah.
I'll take the woman
Yeah,
with that
because it's like
microphone.
somebody who's nominated can't, so it's only, would be, yeah. So, yeah, so we'll work that out. And then also, just to let everybody know, is that although you're elected here, it's not finalized at that point. You do have to submit an application to the Board of Supervisors. So, and that needs to happen immediately after. And those applications then are submitted and brought before the Board of Supervisors, and they do an official approval of whoever is elected.
Madam Chairman, the secretary has been nominated, so she can't count the ballots.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
You're going to have to appoint somebody else.
You're right. I'm sorry. It's getting late. So,
I can.
thank you.
Me and Monica can.
Charlie can.
We'll figure that out. So we'll make sure it's fair. Future agenda items. Right now, we have definitely the Middletown area plan. Yep.
Committee.
And what else was an agenda item?
Well, I wanted to talk about getting rid of these conflicts of interest, where, somebody gets to park before mama gets to park.
Oh, an organizational meeting.
But, if it's going to be
Scheduling.
crowded, we can put that off.
Right.
I wanna have plenty
That
of
can
time
be
to
for,
do that.
yes. Okay. I think we're done.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes?
Can anybody who wanted to be on the parking committee, put their phone number and then put traffic or parking on there so we know who you are? And I know she wrote them down, but I want phone numbers, and I'll work on getting a meeting place and all that kind of stuff. Thank you.
So where are they putting these numbers?
On the sign-in sheet, if they can just put their.
Okay, so there's
make
a
sure their
sign-in
phone
sheet in the
number
back?
and put
Oh.
parking committee.
Oh, by the way, too, I'm sorry, when we were talking about the Middletown area plan, those packets that were passed out that I see rolled up in some hands here and stuff, those were packets that were passed out at one of those LAPAC meetings by the Community Development Department. I asked the Community Development Department to print us up some more packets, And so that's what we distributed. And as you can see, looking through those, it shows various different areas of the communities in the area plan and the zoning. Study it.
If we need more of them on water, sure, to get some copies made for our next meeting.
Keep that, Kevin. It's gonna affect
You
you.
want more copies? Yeah. Right. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Adjourn. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.